Most people comparing Mount Pleasant and Daniel Island get it completely wrong because these two areas look similar on a map, but they deliver totally different lifestyles. And if you don't understand the difference, you will pick the wrong one. They're both close to downtown. They both have strong reputations. They both show up on short lists for relocating buyers. And from the outside, it can look like you're choosing between two versions of the same Charleston upgrade. But the day-to-day experience of living in each one is wildly different. Mount Pleasant is shaped by variety, convenience, and suburban flexibility across multiple pockets that all live differently. Daniel Island is shaped by intentional planning, built-in community, and a more structured lifestyle. And that structure comes with trade-offs people underestimate. And here's the part buyers miss. Choosing between these two isn't just about price or schools or which one is nicer. It affects your social life, your daily routine, your commute patterns, how often you get in the car, what you do on the weekends, and whether you feel like you fit in or like you chose the wrong environment. Pick the wrong one for your lifestyle and you'll feel it fast. The friction shows up immediately. I've spent years helping buyers relocate all over Charleston. Families, retirees, remote workers, young professionals, people coming from New England and the West Coast, and everywhere in between. And I know exactly who thrives in Mount Pleasant, who thrives on Daniel Island, and the surprises people don't see coming until they've already moved. So in this video, I'm breaking down the real differences between Mount Pleasant and Daniel Island. Lifestyle, vibe, commute, housing, price reality, and who each one works best for. By the end, you'll know exactly which one fits your life, not just your budget. So let's get into it. Mount Pleasant isn't one thing, and that's kind of the point. It's a large area with very different pockets. Some feel coastal, some feel traditional suburban, some feel newer and polished, while some feel older and established. And because of that, Mount Pleasant tends to attract people who want options. You can build routine that looks very different depending on where you are. Your grocery run, your commute, your restaurants, your weekends, your traffic, even your feel of the town. Mount Pleasant is convenience-driven, but not always cohesive. There isn't one centralized lifestyle that pulls everyone into the same orbit. It's more like multiple lifestyles living next to each other. And for the right buyer, that's exactly why it works. Daniel Island is structured, curated, and community-driven. Daniel Island feels completely different. It's planned, it's intentional, it's designed to create a certain rhythm of life. The trails connect things on purpose. The neighborhoods feel coordinated. You're more likely to see people out walking and biking, going to the same spots, living a more predictable daily flow. Daniel Island attracts buyers who value structure, walkability, and built-in community. But that same structure can feel limiting if you're the type of person who wants more variation, more independence, or fewer rules. The key point is that Mount Pleasant feels varied, Daniel Island feels designed, and that difference affects everything. So who thrives in Mount Pleasant? People who want flexibility, people who like having choices, people who want suburban convenience, but don't necessarily need a community bubble to feel connected. Mount Pleasant works well for buyers who want to customize their life. You want to choose your pocket, choose your community, choose your dining, choose your pace. And you're okay that it won't all feel like one unified environment. Now, who thrives on Daniel Island? People who want routine, predictability, and a tighter sense of place. Daniel Island works for buyers who want a more walkable daily life, an environment built around trails and community spaces, a neighborhood feel where it's easier to meet people, and a lifestyle that feels more contained and consistent. And the people who struggle are usually the opposites. If you want spontaneity and variety, Daniel Island can feel too controlled. If you want cohesion and structure, Mount Pleasant can feel too spread out. Now let's talk about how you move through life, because this is where the difference becomes real. Mount Pleasant can be easy, or it can be frustrating depending on exactly where you are, where you're going, and what time you leave. Some people love it because you're close to the beaches, the shopping and the dining, and you can build a really convenient routine. But if your daily life requires crossing certain choke points at peak times, the experience can change quickly. Daniel Island tends to feel more predictable inside the island. It's easier to get into a rhythm. You're not constantly bouncing between totally different pockets. But your trade-off is it can feel like you're more locked into certain access points when you're going off island. So here's the way to think about it. Mount Pleasant gives you more options, but also more traffic variables. Daniel Island gives you more internal rhythm, but fewer ways in and out. Now let's talk about housing. This is where people think they're comparing nice versus nice. But what you're actually buying is very different. Mount Pleasant is mixed. You've got older established neighborhoods, newer neighborhoods, different architectural types, different lot sizes, and a wide range of feel from one area to the next. So the same budget can buy you a very different lifestyle depending on your priorities. Daniel Island tends to feel more consistent. A lot of the housing is built to match the planned aesthetic. Even when homes differ, the neighborhood still feels coordinated. You're often paying for the planned environment, the trails and community feel, the predictability, and the walkability factor. So yes, both can be expensive, but the why behind the price definitely feels different. Mount Pleasant often prices around location, convenience, and school reputation, plus proximity. Daniel Island often prices around lifestyle system and community design, plus its cohesiveness. So let me tell you what surprises buyers after they choose between the two. Mount Pleasant can feel less connected than people expect. Some buyers assume Mount Pleasant will automatically feel like a community. But because it's so spread out, you can end up with a great house and still feel like you're driving everywhere and not really plugged in. Daniel Island can feel more restrictive than people expect. Some buyers love Daniel Island at first until they realize they want more variation. They start craving different dining options in different neighborhoods or a different pace. And Daniel Island's strength, its contained structure, becomes the thing they push against. Both feel amazing until your routine exposes the mismatch. Weekend visits don't show you the reality. Your weekday life does. The school run, the commute, the errands, the traffic timing, the where do we actually go on a Tuesday night. That's where the right choice becomes obvious. If you're comparing Mount Pleasant and Daniel Island right now, the best thing you can do is make the decision based on fit and not reputation, because both are great, but they're great for different people. I put together a free Charleston relocation guide that breaks down neighborhoods, lifestyle trade-offs, and what to expect before you start touring. And if you want help figuring out which one actually matches your lifestyle and your routine, you can reach out anytime. I'll help you map it out clearly without the guesswork. And if you're also comparing James Island and Johns Island, that's the next video you should watch, because that's another comparison people get wrong for the exact same reason.